Wow, that was fast. I wasn't expecting it to open up so quickly. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Jason East says, Arnie in the house. What's up? Apple 230s. I don't even know if you need that much time. Who knows? But it's probably fine. Top 4 biggest position. Zeta, AMD. Pretty nice so far. Yeah. What's up, everybody? HIMS looks like, look, news will supersede most technicals for sure. June, directly from a midstream. What's up? What's up? Miss June in the house. Love it. Victor's all over the place. Can I get some 9th like Midwest? Howdy, fam. Robotaxi Monday. Yeah, how about that Tessie? Good God. What's Tessie up so far? Tessie is up like, I don't know. I saw 10% for a minute. That's wild. Who thought? I mean, if you had puts over the weekend, look at these guys. Ray in the house, Abel, awesome. You're awesome, man. Analyzer, are we buying HIMS? Not gonna lie. I bought some shares, a little bit. Don't know if the bottom's in. Who knows? Good morning, Matt in the house. June will never be over. This is true. You know, I mean, in the server, we had a couple people freaking out over the weekend. We're like, just chill. Puts, in fact, did not print. This is true. We did not have puts. I mean, I don't mind puts, especially like here right now. Probably not a horrible spot, but it's one of those spots, like it's a funky situation in the market. It's a very headline driven market. Headlines will absolutely override your technical analysis. That's definitive. They're important. They're definitely important. At the same time, it's like, what can you really believe? Because this market's Trump market, man. Trump market. 1 minute you have this headline. The next minute you have a whole nother headline. So at the same time, it's like, what can you believe? Which kind of gets me to the thumbnail of the day. Can you believe anything? I don't really know. The market, though, is in a very special. Listen, what's going on is scary. It's real. It's very legitimate. And it's not funny. But at the same time, I think there is a lot of positioning. It's very serious. There's a lot of positioning going on that I think. Here's what's true. What's true is if the market was not expecting whatever happened over the weekend to happen, we would have been down if it was like a shock. And the fact that we're not down a lot more, that we weren't down a lot more, the day's not over. So there's that. We still have a lot of time left in the day. The fact that the market wasn't down a lot more, just Sunday afternoon when the futures open, and we looked at that, and you're like, 0.5%. What is 0.5%? It's like, did anything even happen? You're like, okay, the market is not either. The market's calling BS, or it's already priced in, and I'm not really sure. I think that what is true is that there's a lot of probably hedging already happening. And if it's over sooner than expected, while it could be downside for a little bit, the setup is the setup could be wild. So we're at the teetering point. We're on the edge. The market definitively, without question, on the edge. VIX open interest 30 call 170K. No, it doesn't matter. I think. Well, actually, Edward, I think this is a good talking point. So VIX 30 call. First of all, 30 is really not that bad for July 16th. I don't mind that. I think that's an example of the market's hedged. So if the market is generally hedged, well, what would happen? What would happen if there's nothing? If it's not as bad as feared per se? Well, the market would get unhedged very quickly, and that would create like an entire market melt up. Is what would happen. And in the meantime, if those hedges are like accurate, well, we're not going to see that huge fall off, which is pretty much what's happening right now. So I think positioning is prepared for this. And so we're not really seeing that huge sell off, which is probably good. We're not seeing any kind of like explosiveness to the upside either. So, while maybe we can fall off a little bit more, I think you stay prepared. Probably not a horrible spot to hedge, but definitely a situation where a lot of planning is, let's just say this. I think that me personally, this is the moment in the market where it's like, okay, we can make a lot of money. Like if you were prepared for Tesla this morning, you can make a lot of money. If you're prepared for a lot of the situation that's happening or getting ready to happen in the market, you can make a lot of money. It's not like you're trying to profit on anything that's happening from a global perspective, but in general, like our job is to make money in the market. And if people are caught off sides for whatever reason, there's opportunity, and opportunity is literally everywhere. And I think chat just got there. Did chat freeze? Most short interest. Yeah, if this is true, that's super interesting. Just saw S&P 5 is the most short in years, 4%. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. Test works. Cool. So this is what I'm talking about. If that's true, and let's say this ends sooner than later, that's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, Brandon, right now, it's all like the market is coming down right now, but we're coming down to where we just were this morning. So give it a bit, man. I think, quick pop. We'll see what happens. We got a whole day, man. We got a whole day. The silence on the chase it. Yeah, I mean, just in general, something is brewing for sure. Circle is falling. Jim Pasta in the house. What's up, man? And it could be the squeeze of ages. I mean, it would be epically bullish. Just saying. Could be. We don't know yet. It's early. So if you're new to the chat or new to the channel, whatever you want to call it, welcome. What we do here every Monday is kind of like plan out, hey, look, what's going on? What do we have to look forward to? What happened last week? What's happening this week? Might maybe just maybe get to a couple trades that we're looking at, possibly. And really just what's on deck, right? So first things first, what happened last week? We all know what's going on in the headlines in terms of the war stuff. Look, U.S. bombed Iran, some nuclear facilities. Iran attacking U.S. military bases. There's some real stuff going down. It's not like the others. This is different. So it's all kind of like in development mode. So we don't really know what's going to happen. It could be big. It could not be big. It was funny when not funny, but like when Trump when he made his address, first reaction is like, well, I think his message, this was just, to me, when I watched it, it was just obvious to me, like his intent was that his messaging intentionally was that he wanted it to sound like it was over before it started. And I think that was what it sounded like. And I think he meant for it to sound like that. So anyways, other than that, central banks around the world. So we actually had a stress test on the banks. If you didn't know that, some of the banks were looking good. I don't know if that's going to continue. I have some JPM longs on right now. I haven't even checked on that. I might end up closing that today. We'll see. Yeah, it looks like I should close that period pretty soon. Central banks around the world snapping up gold while forecasting a pullback in U.S. reserves. Actually, I saw dollar pulling back a little bit. Retail sales last week came in down 0.04% versus 0.9% expected. Prior was 0.1%. X autos was down was actually up forecast 0.1% against negative 0.3% on a prior of 0.1%. We had FOMC last week. It is over. The media in US hates. They want it to be over. That's what they want it to be. I don't know if it's actually going to be over. They want the messaging to be like it's over. We shall see. We did have FOMC last week. FOMC, Powell's commentary, really, GDP down from last year. We're actually going to get the final GDP print this week on Thursday. Consensus is that we're going to get a negative GDP print on Thursday. And remember, so when we talk about market corrections or what's the word I'm looking for? Just market corrections from a fundamental perspective, bear markets. From a fundamental perspective, we're talking about 2 negative GDP quarters in a row. And we're expected to get one final read negative this Thursday officially for Q1. And so I have this alert going off. Oh man, we are kind of drilling a little bit, missing a little bit of a downside trade at the moment for you guys, but it is what it is. So 2025 for the full year projection looks like they're still sitting at 1.4%. Tariffs, that was the commentary. This is kind of like Powell's kind of, I guess free pass right now for not raising rates. He's got a free pass, right? And that is that tariffs are a driving force for higher projected inflation moving forward. And if you don't know, when we look at, and we'll take a look, I guess, actually we can look at it right now. When you look at this, the way inflation's really set, I can look at last week, previous week. I'd have to go to previous month. I believe it's CPI. It's core. No, so it's gonna be a headline. Yeah, so this is headline inflation rate month over month. The 12-month average, if you're in the camp of like, oh, he has to cut, I just don't see it. For the 12-month average, the next 2 months, these are 0% prints that we're actually going to lose. So these 0% prints, unless we have negative headline month over month CPI for the next 2 months, it's basically impossible that CPI will go down for the next 2 months, year over year headline CPI. It's near impossible. I don't care what real estate's doing or housing's doing. It's nearly impossible for headline CPI year over year to go down unless we have a negative month over month print at the headline, because we're going to lose these two next month year of headline prints that are literally zero. So unless, like I said, unless they're negative, we're going to have higher year over year headline inflation. At least that's what's going to look like. Yeah, like I said, Corey, I'm missing a short right now. I see it. I'm a little like, I should hit it, but here we are. It happens. Sometimes we get this kind of like small trend during the lunch hour. Oh well, we'll have to see what happens after the stream. Sometimes you get that little counter trend during the lunch hour. Looks like the Nobu boys. We call them the Nobu boys, right? If they're trading the morning session, then they go to lunch. They didn't want to hold long while they were out to lunch, so they all exited stage left. Other commentary from Powell: the labor market is not a source of inflation, so that's good. And then Governor Waller says Fed could cut rates as soon as July. I mean, so that's all what we have so far. I mean, again, one thing's true, like if we actually got a rate cut, even if it was like a 25 basis point rate cut last week during the FOMC, I probably would have been mega short, to be honest, if that was the case. The fact that we didn't get a rate cut, first of all, I don't think the market was expecting a rate cut. If we got any kind of a rate cut, we definitely would not have gotten a rate cut on the next FOMC. So now that we did not get one, if you want to be bullish from that perspective, we are now at least one step closer to actually having a rate cut moving forward. I don't know that seasonal expectations are a thing right now. One thing here, so conflicts and terrorism, this is the wall of worry. We can actually, so this is interesting. These little like red things, this is like conflict, terrorism. Whenever we have like this kind of stuff happen, they end up being like super small blips on the radar from a stock market perspective. Boston Marathon bombing, Red Sea crisis. I guess this is the Ukraine invasion, but there was I believe there were some other things happening at the same time. But from a longer term perspective, yeah, we can have some choppy trendless trade. This is September 11. Man, it seems like I need to zoom in on this huge timeline. It's very small blips on the radar, but in general, I think the market is where we are. It's like they were quickly buying this up. Right now, they are not, and this looks like we are falling quite a bit. And I wish I was in a trade. Damn it! Oh well, I am not. Is Circle 200? Don't play, because I'm gonna have to like close the stream. No, it's not. Circle, guys. Circle is really hard to short. First of all, the shares are locked up. The shares are locked up. It was going to be 300 on Circle, psychological resistance. You're probably going to take some profit. If it cracks through 300, dude, it was going to be no man's land, out of this world. Who knows? The thing's not going to freaking stop. The shares are locked up. I would venture to guess that they're extremely hard to borrow, so you probably can't even short it. Quite frankly, it's probably still a long. Quite frankly, it's probably still a long. It is what it is. Or we bounce here at 250. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Bouncing here at 250. That is a crazy stock dude, I don't even know what to say about Circle. It's just absolutely insane. No, I will take a hard pass on Neo. I have no interest in charting Neo. It's too small. It's too cheap. No, just no. Appreciate you, but no. Yeah, I think this thing. So we get these knee-jerk reactions, Iran attack in minutes, apparently. Look, it can be real. Like I said, this is real stuff. It's impacting real people in our real day-to-day lives. It's not fun. I'm not trying to like profit on any of this. But the market is this is what we do, right? For sure. But anyways, all right, what's going on right now? Stepped out. I have look. Did Iran? I don't know. Let me see. I can pull up headlines. Iran did launch 6 missiles towards U.S. bases in Qatar, per Axios. That's live right now. Per Axios. Explosions heard over Qatar capital right now from Reuters. GPS signals disruptions detected near the Strait of Hormuz currently. Yeah, I agree, right? Yeah, Victor, for sure. So there you go. I thought, quite frankly, I thought that they already did that attack. I saw it this morning, like it's coming. So I'm pretty sure we knew that. I don't think this would not be a surprise to us. Like the US is not going to be, there's no element of surprise here for sure. Yeah, activate force field. Force fields have been active since before. What sucks though, like if the US was trying to have the element of surprise, I mean Trump didn't. We do not either. We do not have an element of surprise. So there's that as well. But anyways, all right. So back to the market. So earnings review. I think we have Nike left. So Nike is Thursday. That's like the last one here that we have. I did see. Did anybody have that new? What's the new? So not gonna lie, I just grabbed a couple shares of that new IPO. Arrow, AIRO, AIRO. Because I just wanted to track it. I don't know anything about this, but I was thinking about Circle. I was thinking about all the other ones, and I'm like, oh, I think it's a drone company, and they were down pretty bad. Is anybody here in that? They don't have options yet. The chart looks good. I'll tell you guys that right now. Chart looks like it has based. Me, me. MU is a big one. MU also. What happened to MU? What about MU? Oh, from a chart perspective? No, so like I highly doubt it. Okay, okay. Micron has earnings. Oh, dude. I don't know that I want to do. Oh yeah, I'm definitely not going to trade. Micron is way up there already, you guys. I mean, way up there. I feel like that's going to be a sketchy trade here. I'll look at it, but it's made the move. Yeah, no, agree. It has earnings, but let's be crystal clear on that. It has made the move for sure. Yeah, we saw this for sure. Yeah, I did buy this, like right there with you. I was watching it and I'm like, well, you know, I didn't have a fib level. I was just like, well, it was like, I just eyed it. And I was thinking, well, it's got to be right there. It's not back over though. That's for sure. It's like barely at the halfway point. So it can totally, it can totally get shellacked. I think the 50% is like 26 and change, 27. So if it's holding over 27, yeah, then it'll be back on its way. It's not right now, and because you see how fast, Victor, how fast they opened up circle options. Like boom, when there's interest in something, then okay, the market makers are not gonna skip a beat. They're gonna open it if there's interest on it. One missile reported at U.S. base in Iraq. Iran has launched attacks targeting Qatar and Iraq. I mean, yeah, so they are launching literally as we speak. Yeah, and then SMCI, 10 million stocks bought last 10 minutes on Friday, closed today. They did a convertible one. And so I actually, dude, I'm not an SMCI fan. You guys may or may not know. I'm definitely not an SMCI fan. I've been watching this setup actually as well. Watching this setup, I gave it the benefit of the doubt on Friday too, and went ahead, took a little shot. Of course, the one time I take a shot on it, I get slapped with an offering. So it is what it is. As long as it holds literally here now, I think it's fine. But it's fine. It's fine. CoreWeave, yeah, it was the same. It was the same. So, we're not seeing the interest on Arrow just yet. But if there was interest, Victor, it would open up right away. Trump evacuated, yeah, 100%, right? So like, there's no way. So to your point, Jasper, there's no way that we're getting caught off sides here. There's no element of surprise. David, love you, man. Pass. Too small market cap, not happening. Oil majors pull staff from Iraq amid fears of retaliation by Iran. Yeah. The thing about no, SMCI is a good spot. It's a good spot. I'm in it. I'm long, but I like Dell better as a company. I will just say SMCI just doesn't have a moat. It doesn't have a moat. Anybody can come along and replace SMCI tomorrow. There's nothing special about SMCI to me. That's the problem. Just made 100% on SPY calls. There you go. Dell is not a boom. That's because you guys don't understand. Dell is a very complicated company. It's huge. Look at Dell is 100 times the size of SMCI. That's the thing. NBIS. I should probably spend more time. If I can convince Sam to come on the show, one day I'll have Sam come on the show and have him talk about MBIS. It's not my thing, but yeah. ASTS, I let's get back to this, you guys. I love you. I love it. But let's get back. So I do track quarterly, like the net quarters, right? So meaning like of the Dow 30. So I track the Dow 30 is what I do. And I want to see like of the Dow, the largest 30 components of the market, right? Are we generally meeting expectations or beating expectations? That's nothing to do with stock performance or anything like that. But as you can see, so like this is the worst quarterly performance that I have on record. So Q4, I don't know however many years ago that was, a couple years ago, 17 beats, 11 misses, 2 meets. Honestly, we're still tracking pretty decently here. So so far, 24 beats, 5 misses, 1 meet. That's Procter. Look, this is nothing close to bad. So far, if you're expecting some kind of slowdown in terms of earnings, it's just not happening. This is this week on deck so far. Right now, we do have existing home sales. If you don't know, this week we also have I believe what we call Henry Hawkins. So it's 2 days testimony, J Powell. Honestly, it's a nothing burger. if this is what I'm thinking it is. I believe it's a testimony in front of the Senate, and then in front of the House, and then in front of the Senate. If it is that, I'm pretty positive it's a ginormous waste of time. And it's where all the politicians basically use their time to talk about whatever their personal initiatives are from a political agenda. And you should just totally delete it from your calendars. I don't know what they're going to talk about this time, but that's typically what it is. So anyway, so there's that. Tomorrow we do have a 2-year note. So of all the auctions that you pay attention to, is the 2-year and the 10-year note auctions. Tomorrow we do have the 2-year note auction. That's going to be important. That could be a bigger pivot than anything else we have. We do have a lot of Fed speak in general throughout the week. So now that the FOMC is over, all the Fed presidents get to speak their piece. So I would pay attention to that. We have home sales and housing data coming on Wednesday. And then this is that Thursday. Thursday, we have the GDP Q1 final results. It's expected to be a negative. So again, from a fundamental perspective, what a recession, there it is. The definition of a recession, easy. What's up? What the definition of a fundamental recession is 2 back-to-back negative GDP quarters. It has nothing to do with jobs or anything like that. Technically, a fundamental recession is 2 negative GDP prints in a row. So we are expected to get the first of 2. By the time you get this fundamental recession, honestly, the stocks are already down. And by the time that catches up, you're usually already back up. So we'll see, right? We shall see. Then Friday, we get the Fed's favorite inflation gauge. That is PCE. I think that's probably going to be the biggest one. If we get, and that's probably going to be the biggest move of the week to me, because the forecast for Thursday's GDP is already negative. I think that comes in probably in line. It ends up being a bit of a nothing burger. But if we have a negative GDP final look, and then the market starts shifting to PCE, and that does not look good, then moving forward, since the market is a forward-looking, animal, if you will, that could start to steer things from that perspective in one direction or the other. So I think that might be a bigger pivot and may actually sway the market one way or the other. We'll have to see. So Friday could be a big day. Definitely. Let me just make sure I'm not going too far ahead. In terms of earnings, I think, yeah. So we do have, so you guys are right. So Wednesday after the close, we have Micron. We have KB Homes, Carnival. I don't know if anybody's doing Carnival, Norwegian today or tomorrow before the open. Carnival, FedEx. Nobody should be watching this dead company. General Mills. I think Amp was talking about being like Paycom. I don't know, Paycom. Micron after the close Wednesday. That stock has made the move. I don't know what to say about that one. Walgreens going bankrupt soon. Sad but true. And then Nike. I have no idea what Nike's going to do. Still a new CEO. That thing could be wild. Who knows? White House headlines coming in. Additional ballistics from Iran. U.S. jets scrambling over Saudi Arabia right now. White House and the Department of Defense are aware and closely monitoring potential threats to Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Yeah, they know. UAE airspace is closed. Maximum alert status declared. Yeah, you got to let this play out. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But there's no surprise here. There should be no surprise. Appreciate it. Where am I reading this? In the server, in our server. I have a news feed in the server. Iranian TV operation Baccarat Al Fatah launched targeting U.S. base. So they're done. With the Iranian TV already just announced. So I know why they would announce that their operation has launched. If it's complete, that must be when it's completed. Anyways, you guys, this thing, this is like in development. Nobody knows what's actually going to happen. The market's on edge. This is true, right? Things can go haywire. And if there's some kind of peace sooner than later, I mean, you know what's going to happen. It's a coiled spring. So I'll say that. But in the meantime, can we grind lower or can we knee jerk? Because there's a lot of knee jerk reactions here. So I think, I think right now the play is to kind of like wait. In our group, we've more or less named this surgical strikes. Surgical strikes are, for us, for me, this is the opportunity where you sit in the market and you plan your attacks, right? And the idea is that, like, look, if you're the trader, your capital is like SEAL Team 6. Leave no man behind, right? But it's important that you're able to get in, get out, accomplish your mission, and your mission is like maximum market destruction. But you have to be quick, decisive, and exit stage left, mission accomplished. But if you take one wrong step, right, you could trigger a massive explosion and it could be game over. And I think that is the market in a really crappy analogy right now. So I think caution is the word, and planning is a non-negotiable, I think, right? And so this is not a market to be like willy-nilly. This is a market where very precision surgical attacks will be rewarded in spades. But if you size incorrectly or you prematurely allocate capital, you will get absolutely shellacked and blown accounts will show up. So be very careful, I think, is my point. Plan accordingly. You will get out of this market still what you put into it. But if you don't put the work in from a technical perspective, you will get slaughtered in this environment. So I think it's very important to at least be with a group. Things will change on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis. And if you're not with a group, by all means, come over. But trying to do this on your own, I think, in this moment is very tough. You got to be very glued to both the headlines and the charts. But the name of the game here, get in, get out, maximum market destruction, and move on to the next one. There's a lot of stuff that you can get distracted with waiting and maybe like anticipating a move. Look at Tesla. If you thought this morning that or Sunday that your puts were going to print and nothing happened and you were just uber bearish, like you had nothing today. And all of a sudden you would have missed out on Tesla. You would have missed out on Circle. I don't know. You would have missed out on a lot of stuff, right? And if you were too bullish, well, then you would have missed out on this downside in the back half, right? Or at least during lunch while I'm streaming over here. So stay open-minded. But this market is tough. It's not for the lighthearted. And keep your head on a swivel right now. But anyways, that said, there is a little extra help that we can use every now and then. And that brings us to probably your favorite part of the show, maybe my favorite part of the show, where we get that little extra juju, and that comes from the T in TA, and we all know that stands for tarot. So without further ado, let's bring in Miss Cleo. See what. All right, guys, here we go. Miss Cleo in the house. This is how this works. So we get a tarot reading for the week. Top card. Top card is the theme card. And then underneath the theme card, we get a daily card, one card for each day of the week. Well, I'll just say I haven't really looked at this. Well, so the theme card so far looks like we are, I think I've seen this. I've definitely seen the theme card looks like we were stuck out in the cold, right? It definitely looks like we're stuck out in the cold. I don't really know. So maybe we're not breaking out today. At least she doesn't think so, or this week. Today looks good. This is 7. These are cups. The cups are pretty good. Looks like we got a lot of stuff in our cups. Cups are full. We got a little magic mushroom, some snakes, I don't know, some jewels over here. I don't know what's going on. And then tomorrow, Page of Swords. Swords are good. I think swords are wild. This Fool. Are we feeling foolish? Maybe we're feeling foolish. I don't know. And then we go, so these are not numbers. So we go 7, Page, Fool, and then the King. And I gotta say, this this one, this is a wild card. Looks like a Fallout. Yeah. So this card, this Tower card, is a wild card. Miss Cleo. No. This Tower card is not necessarily what it seems. I know this card very well. So it's funny because like we have the Fool. I remember, so the Fool is like, we are foolish because maybe you're too bullish, or maybe you're too bearish, and that's foolish. And then the Tower, I mean, definitely either the Tower. Arnie won't argue that. That's for sure. One of the two. But so like we don't know that we're burning on Friday. So like the Tower, you're falling for sure. But we don't know if we build the Tower on we don't know if we build the Tower on Friday or we're falling from the Tower on Friday. But at some point, a tower has to be built. So I guess the question is going to be, do we build the tower here? Do we build the tower Monday through Thursday and then fall off the tower on Friday? Or do we build the tower on Friday only to fall off it on the weekend? But I know the tower, it's got to be built. See? But hey, the tower's big. That's all I know. It's got to be built at some point. And I know it's not built yet. So that I know. I can look at this and we can say this tower, she ain't built yet. All right. Okay, so anyways, that's what do I know? I don't know anything. What if we buy the tower? Dude, you got it. You want to buy the tower. Well, you don't want to buy the top of the tower though. That's the thing. You don't want to buy the top of the tower. So anyways, or the bottom of the tower, I don't know. So theme card, 5 of Pentacles. This is the theme card. All right. This card brings a period of early suffering. So maybe that's Sunday. Early suffering. That's the theme. The theme followed by a chance for rescue. All right. In daily readings, this means a negative start that finds footing and attempts to bounce or at least hold. So far, so good. However, here we go. As a theme card, it tends to do the opposite and actually has a bit of a what? However, as a theme card, it tends to do the opposite and actually has a bit of a bullish bias. Okay. I mean, you know, okay, yeah, no, so here you go. Yeah. Prune's got it. By the construction of the tower. This will be an interesting week. We'll need to rely on the daily cards to bring clarity. Oh, yes, we will. So Monday, 7 of Cups. That's the day. This is a card. Oh, damn it. This is a card of illusionary gains. It usually brings a strong rally. Morning. Well, did we already have this? I don't know. It usually brings a strong rally that makes you want to chase and get euphoric. Well, that might have already happened. But eventually sells off. Already happened, at least in part. This means you shouldn't chase, but see how she does this? This is pretty cool. But instead, lightly sell the rally and then look for a chance to get back in. All right, Miss Cleo, I'm listening. Don't linger too long if the negative energy persists. All right, I'm listening. That's okay. So then tomorrow, Tuesday, Page of Swords. The page often brings new starts, but their energy is not persistent. Well, fine. So they fade mid. Look, Miss Cleo. Just saying. Pages often bring new starts, but their energy is not persistent. So they fade mid-session. Okay. Look for mean reversion with energy equal to Monday. So today's Monday. That means up ski, down ski, side ski, up ski. I don't know. Which means trend follows opposite trend and chop follows opposite chop. Which means trend follows opposite trend. Does that make sense to anyone? Hey, man, I'm just saying. Again, look for an afternoon slowing. Okay, fine. So Wednesday is the Fool. I mean, just generally days foolish. The Fool also brings new starts. Cool. But this time it's unlikely to fade. Whoa. Unlikely to fade. Very foolish day. It can be. What do we have on Wednesday? I got to pull up LuxAlgo, so we'll have to do Lux after this. It can be euphoric and seem ridiculous. See, this is the Fool. It can seem ridiculous at times, but it doesn't sell until the following session. So the Fool could be where we build the tower. The Fool, Manuel, we're all trying to figure this out. I mean, we chopped to the downside today, chopped to the upside. Yeah. But Wednesday, the Fool also brings you. It can be euphoric and seem ridiculous at times, but it doesn't sell until the following session, which would be Thursday. So I would look for a strong start and chance to cash out by end of the day. I wouldn't short. She's straight up calling longs because we could just chop the next day. So maybe Thursday is chop. So if Wednesday is the building of the tower, just saying. This is I think she's painting a little picture here. I don't know. Thursday, King of Swords is a strong card that is capable. Okay, maybe not. I don't know. That is capable of trending, but usually only after a lesser card. That's not a lesser card. The Fool is not a lesser card. Since we're following a major card, I think trend is unlikely and chop in the opposite direction is the high percent play. If the Fool closed in a positive trend, then we can still go higher, but just by a little bit. Okay. Which is why we didn't short on Wednesday. So Miss Cleo's legit calling Zoltar, Miss Cleo, whatever you want to call him, legit calling direction. Wednesday upski, Thursday slightly less upski. Look for both sides to get chopped up here. And then Friday, okay, we have the tower has been built. We've had this card many times before, so you should know how it works. Oh, we know. We either get a massive rally. Okay, so we don't know. We either get another massive rally that builds a tower on shaky ground, leading to a later topple, or we don't know. If we're following a strong green trend or two, then the tower is probably built and ready to topple here. I mean, bottom line, this one has to build the tower before it can bring negativity. Bottom line, this one has to build the tower. So is the tower? Anybody had this is 5D chess, Arnie? Yeah. So it could the tower could fall in the afternoon. Listen, it also, think about it this way. If we have one of those big green days, and if we have like a big green week in general, and like the whole market is sussy, nobody is gonna want to go home uber long into a weekend after a giant green week. You got to understand that's true. So there will be some de-risking that goes on. Period. End of story. If we're very green. So there's also that. Recap. There's a lot, there's a lot going on this week. We have some chop and mean reversion, but a few days worth trying momentum plays. I mean, just ain't. Look at this. So we're coming into tomorrow. New start tomorrow. Not persistent. Fade miss session. So up ski, down ski, chop titty, and then Wednesday kablooey. Well, yeah, I mean, anyways, this is Zoltar. This is Miss Cleo. That's what she says. Take it for what it is. I don't know. David. I mean, look, it how negative? She doesn't say, BTAC. It could just be that the end of day selling. Because don't forget, next week we get a whole nother stop it. What's next Friday? You know what? This Friday or next Friday? Here, what I gotta do. Let's do this. I need to let's go to Lux next. And we got to do the Catalyst watch. So if you're not following Lux, it is at LuxAlgo for sure. Give them a follow on the Twitter. Is it July 4th? No, yeah, that's next Friday. So we're talking about this Friday, though. Next Friday. We're talking about this Friday. That's next Friday. We're talking about this Friday. Oh, God. Next Friday. All right. So, yeah. All right. So this week, not next week, this week, Catalyst Watch from Lux. If you're not following Lux, give them a follow. So this is their deal. Markets are starting to feel like a war zone. Absolutely truth, right? Keep your portfolio going nuclear. Is that a hint? I haven't looked at any nuke stocks lately. Stay ready for anything. Absolutely. So Monday, we're kind of looking for some other stuff. So S&P manufacturing PMI, we already got that. 6-month treasury, not a big deal. Gouldsby spoken, speaks. Then we got Williams, futures positioning here. I should start looking at that COT report sooner than later. Tuesday, Canada CPI inflation. Okay, so it is Henry. We call this the Henry Hawkins. So it's the congressional testimony, 10 a.m., right? I have no idea what they're going to talk about, but this is definitively, if it's congressional testimony, look, this is what they use as their podium to talk about whatever their political agenda is. 2-year Treasury auction is important. They don't have a little chilly there, but they should. And then 1, 2, 3 Fed speakers as well. Carnival, FedEx later. Wednesday, second back-to-back testimony. I believe it's Senate and then, or at least House and then the Senate. Crude inventories, General Mills, Micron after the close. Thursday, so Barkin, or actually how many do we have? How many speakers? Oh, we don't have any other speakers Wednesday? Okay. Barkin, then PCE price index, GDP Q1 final. What I was saying, GDP Q1 final. I believe I had it here. This is GDP Q1 final. So consensus is negative 2%, right? So we are here, Q1 negative 2%. So like before, you'd have to go in the Wayback Machine. This is like COVID. And then over here, 2022, we only actually got one negative quarter, negative 1%. And then they had revised all these others. They were negative and then like, oh no, they're actually not. But this is the next negative GDP print that we're expecting here. Other than that, COVID. Durable goods, weekly jobless claims, that comes out on Thursday as well. Barkin, pending homes, 7-year, not a big deal. Then Bar, Fed Williams, a lot of Fed speak. Then PCE, kind of interested in PCE. What are we looking for PCE? PCE core, consensus 1. We're coming off of 0.5. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. Just gonna look at headline. We're gonna drop a 0 for the year-over-year headline. Interesting. We're gonna drop a 0. Okay, so this is fine because the year-over-year consensus 2.3. That should be fine. All right. Fed Cook, consumer sentiment, bank stress test results on Friday. And there you have it. All right. And I think that is it. So I think the biggest thing is like, how does the market react to really this negative GDP that's essentially expected to come out on Thursday, right? And then do they look forward on PCE? Consensus 0.1. Does if this comes in too hot or too cold, I think that will move the market on Friday. So whether or not Miss Cleo's right on her tower, I think is very much dependent on this core or this PCE number. So PCE, that's your chili pepper day of the week. Very much dependent on this number right here. So because that's coming right after Q1 final, GDP. I think that's gonna weigh on what the market believes the timeline's gonna be for the next rate cuts, and so therefore that's gonna be a big deal for the market sentiment in general. All right, next Friday you'll say something, yeah, for sure. Tower of Power. I don't know. We shall see. We shall see. All right, guys. So I'll give you 3, 2, 1. Hit it. Drop some tickers now. I will go ahead and pull up a little SPY chart. I'm assuming the chat's working. It's possible the chat's not working. What's happened to my... If the chat is not working. Oh, they did. All right. So here's where we are. From an NF... Wow. 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 Did we just recover the whole thing? Can you believe it? I can believe it. I can believe it. You guys got some good ones. Look at this. What is happening? We can kind of take a look at Micron. So does everybody know what non-farm payroll levels are? Just question. Does anybody not know what NFP levels are? My guy. I need you in the server, my guy. J-Roy. Dude, what's up with Google? Side note, if you're looking for setups in this market, if you're looking for those surgical surgical strikes, I'll give you a hint. What you actually want to look for are the repeatable breakouts that are very high and tight up against a simple moving average, or a failed breakdown. So failed breakdowns are a go-to, and a high and tight consolidation for like 2-3 weeks. Failed breakdown example, Coinbase. High tight consolidation, Datadog, I think AMD's an extended one. JP Morgan recently. There's a handful of those. SMCI would go into that category. All right. So SPY here. This is where we are. NFP levels, since most of you guys did, strongest levels in the market. Absolutely. What I want to do really quick, this is the focus. So this orange box, that is the level. From a daily perspective, what we're looking for really is 3 like full, like we're either looking for an entire day's trade outside of this orange box. First of all, we don't have that. We have like wicks inside, or we're looking for like three like closes, like full, like outside, right? And I have 1, 2. I only have 3 I do have 3 closes outside of one of these levels. That is only to the upside. I only have 1 close so far that's to the downside. Anything outside of that, when we look at this, if you have an open below, so side note, right? When you're reading this is an open below, close above. It's not clean, right? This is an open below, close above. That's not clean, right? Open below, close above, not clean. Open above, close below, not clean, right? So we don't have a clean direction here. Yesterday, open above, close below, not clean, not a clean trigger, not downside, right? Open below, close above, No, right? So I do not have from our system does not tell you that you have a clean trigger, period. So at least from a swing perspective. So hopefully you guys are all set on that. What you should expect though is that you continue to bounce inside this box or thereabouts, and that's so far what we have done, right? And in the meantime, we're actually seeing a little bit of broadening. Your focus and your mission, should you choose to accept it, should be in the mid-cap growth sectors. I don't believe it's necessarily large cap yet. Their time will come unless you have catalysts, but mid-cap growth, those are typically the first to go. In the large cap areas, remember, failed breakdowns, those are a go-to setup. Think failed breakdowns, full-blown broken charts that are breaking down. Think of Google, full-blown broken charts, super bearish, but for some reason not breaking further down. Think Apple. When those start to turn, think about the story that's playing out, right? Why can't it go down lower? Well, they run out of sellers. And what happens if they run out of sellers? Well, they got to go a little bit higher. So there are a couple of stories, one story that's definitely looking to start playing out, and then another story that might be possibly converting right now. And in the meantime, mid-cap growth, right? Those are your focus areas. If you're not in those two, and some semi catch-ups, Micron's not going to be a catch-up. That's already caught up. MRVL, analyzer, good, right? Semi catch-up. And that general broadening, right, across the board. So for here now, if I were to be short, like I said, what I would be looking for is a full close below yesterday's this NFP. So we did get it open below 595.70. This trade here above this 595.70, the fact that we're even trading above here intraday is telling me that there's too much bullish sentiment, at least intraday. If I was going to think that this is like a big short moment, I would expect that this 595.70 on SPY to start acting like serious overhead resistance. And the fact like this, and the fact that it's not, and it did in the pre-market, but intraday it did not. The fact that it's not doing this down here is telling me, look, the bears have a lot more work to do. And in the meantime, if you're going to be short, well, look, you have a lot more, you got a lot more work to do, because over here up to 600, you still to get through. But we're not super bullish unless we're getting that full trading session above, right? And then the next rung here is 605. So again, why is this stopping 605? That's it. That's the next level, right? So again, even from here, these levels get tighter and tighter because we do start walking into that kind of all-time high area. So it's not like it's blue skies ahead either, guys. But the setup is very squeezy. What I will say is when I say that high and tight consolidation at a critical simple moving average, from a market positioning perspective, just know this is becoming what I'm talking about. Here's your simple moving average. This is going to be, not yet, but it's building that high and tight consolidation. This can go on for a few more weeks, quite frankly. And if it holds in this area, even in this area, while this 20-day SMA continues, this is going to get higher and tighter and tighter. And eventually, that is that market squeeze that we're talking about, if that happens, right? Doesn't mean it has to go out that way. This is not like ripe and ready quite yet. It sure as hell is building, though. Can it go down this way? Absolutely. But I just told you exactly when, where, and how that setup is going to play out. It must be, like, without a doubt, no question, a clean trigger, but it must be a full day's close, entire trade below 595 spot 70. And until then, it's not happening. And then it will continue below 588 spot 28. So I got a lot of time. And even if this tower per Miss Cleo is built and it goes up here, and if the tower falls to here, guys, that's bullish as hell. So how do we build the tower? That's how. And if that's the case, 600 spot 83, believe me, I'm buying that. So anyways, there you have it. It's not a short unless we get this, right? It's got to be like that. And in that case, yeah, your boy is uber short. And then the continuation would be uber short. But here now, guys, what a G, Miss Cleo. Look at this. How does she do it? Are we literally back to the highs? How does she do it? Did I hear candle of all candles? I just want to know how she does it. And I also want to know why no one is asked about Tesla. Like, what's wrong with you guys? Why did nobody ask about Tesla chart? That's what the cards say. The cards literally say what? Anyways. All right, so I'm going to scroll up and we'll get to it. I'm shocked I didn't get a single Tesla request. Shocking. Probably the most. All right. Independence Day. So, hoodie. First request. Need to go here. Do you guys want me to sprinkle in some juju for you or what? You want me to give you a couple? Hoodie's not look bad. Good. High tight, right? So this is very, very close to the high and tight. Maybe not exactly there. But it really wants to be. So this could do a little bit of a catch up from a weekly perspective. Yeah, it's getting a little bit of a consolidation. I think this is very close. This could happen at any point in time. 77.80. Yeah, 77.80. I would love to see happen. Look, as long as 60, whatever this is, 67. I know it seems like a ways away. I mean, this is just extra bullish. No way around it. And from here, really to here, we should absolutely see extensions to 85s. No question to me. What has to happen right now is that we have to get over last week's high. And so as long as we can get over last week's high, which is going to be 79.38. 79.38, I wanted to see that over today. It can happen at any point. So that's right here. Very close, 79.38. When 79.38 happens, it can happen anytime this week. That triggers the move into 83, immediate. And here now, this is a perfect example of what I was talking about. So you do have, yes, your simple move. This is still, dude, this is still in play. So high tight, this is high and tight. This is your typical breakout setup. So yeah, I actually still very much like this. If I took this here, baseline, boom, of this giant exhaustion candle. Oh yeah, dude, I actually like this. So 85's in play. This pullback from today, 74, is in play. I love this. So here, it's wiki, right? I'll give you that. And I'm biased as hell. So I know that as well. It's a small pivot. But this could be that launching point. You know for sure it's happening. Set an alert, right? You get this crack through that weekly high. This is an after the fact thing. This is still in play. This is the definition of the high and tight. This is high and tight, right? 1, 2, this is third. I think you're fourth shot. So if this continues to try, it's 83 and change. It's possible to extend just here into the 85s. And then on this extension, you would be looking net into the 93s. So yeah, it's a big spot, high and tight. That's what that looks like. It's got to hold over 74.5. 74.5 is going to be your spot. You don't want to see it lose that. Can it wick below that? Yes, it can, but it needs to look like basically this morning. And we would define that as a bit of a, what we call like a liquidity grab. So if it wicks below and instantly gets bought back above, perfectly fine. Look at this. Oh my goodness. All right. APP. This is full-blown breakdown. It is full-blown breakdown, but it's not a failed blow. So there's a difference between a full-blown breakdown and a failed breakdown. This is in fact full-blown breakdown. Actually, it's not a failed breakdown. So no. So you got to put this on the back burner for a bit. This is meaning that run. This is a run, right? Then you have a rest. Then you have a run. It's actually in an active run. This needs to rest. So you need to not trade this. It should not make an instant run. And if it does, maybe here, but I want nothing to do with this here now. You mentioned Arrow, beginning of the show. Thoughts, Archer. Is a tough one. I don't trade this one actively. 6.5 billion. It's not in a good spot. It's very squeezy. I think I don't know if they're drones. I only mentioned Arrow because it had defense like drones. I think it's drones. It's my ignorance here. If they're not drones, then I don't want anything to do with it. eVTOL. I mean, if eVTOL is not defense, then no. But anyways, it's okay. So they're being explored for purposes possible. All right. So it could. This is technically this is a setup of what a failed breakdown could look like. So where we just looked at APP, like it actually went all the way down. That's a breakdown. Here, it's kind of like teetering on the edge. So see this candle right here? This is where the bears should be able to take advantage here. But this is the definition of a failed breakdown. So this would be that ideal liquidity grab. I don't quite have it here except for that little teeny tiny wick. So if it does extend, then that would be what we look for here is that kind of springboard. So if this acts as a bit of a springboard, meaning that whoever was buying here and here ends up doing it again, right? You have a little bit of confluence from this volume shelf, right? If this whole area can act as the same and you want to react, you don't want to anticipate. It's very crucial here that you're not anticipating and that you're reacting. So if this gets over and you see that launch pad in force, then yes, you can take this. And I would probably look for this session gap to fill in short order. which could actually be a pretty solid trade. I would probably start taking profits a little bit early, maybe targeting this general order block. But look, from here to there, 10%. I do like that, but it must show me life first. I think if it is over 1025, yes. So that's how that's going to work for me. I will set an alert for that personally. So over 1025, yes, you should get at least into this area. All right, UNH. It's not going to fit any of the criteria that I talked about. So I don't want anything to do with this right now. So the criteria I talked about, mid-cap growth, or like, I guess, you know, this is just a hard no touch right now. It's I guess it's failed breakdown, but like that would be over here. It's definitely multiple failed breakdowns, but the problem here is that it's already had that shot here and here. And if a failed breakdown is going to happen, it's instantly got to make a new high. And so the problem is that a new high needed to happen. And so because that did not happen here, this is just a big fat no to me. So like, no, no, no. If you want to talk about UNH, then you should sit on this for the next 3 to 5 years at minimum and be prepared to buy this sub 200 or low 200s, because this is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. And if it does, you're lucky. And if it doesn't, you shouldn't be surprised either. That's how I'm looking at this. Like, great. It could, come back down and breach back above the 20-day simple moving average. But honestly, this is a bigger opportunity cost to spend any brain space on. This is a huge distraction. I want nothing to do with this here and now for this market. It's just absolutely going to cost you money if you're trading this. From an investing perspective, by all means, have at it. The only thing that I would say is, like, new CEO, you probably have risk of the dividend being pulled because he has a blank check. Like, he could do anything he wants here, and they could definitively pull the dividend, and then you would see that sub 200, that low 200 stock price, because you don't know. They could still definitely be under that Medicare investigation. That could be very real. But there's no reason that this stock in this environment will shoot to the upside, because what you're seeing, mid-cap growth, the market is hungry for growth and or multiple expansion. That's not going to come from this sector here now. CPRX. I have no idea what this is. Pharmaceuticals. This is hard biotech space. I steer very clear of this. 2.69 billion. I'm going to punt. These are very headline driven. You got to be very, very close to what's coming down the pipeline. I just don't know enough about this, because these are going to be more, this is not so technical driven as it is fundamental. And any news release on something like this is going to outweigh the chart for sure. NBIS. I keep typing MVIS. It's same thing. So like this is, again, this is that failed breakdown. So if it does not continue lower, that's fine. Should it continue lower? Actually, it should to 41. But what a failed breakdown has to look like, you actually have to get a little bit higher. If you get that, then it's all good. From here, if you take this here now, that's like anticipation. I don't want it yet. You got to be over 48, breach, come back, hold, then have at it. If you take it here now, you might get a little bit in trouble. Oops. Hims. I don't know Hims. I like him. So 43 was I had 42 and change. This was one level. So from this here, 23 to this is that what we call golden pocket right in here. So you have a golden zone, which is fine. We didn't really care that much about a golden zone. 50%. So the thing is, you lose a 50% retracement, you have like a 70+% probability. You have a very high probability of getting to a 618 or very likely a 65 retracement, which we call that golden pocket right here. So that sits between 43 and 41. Doesn't mean that you want to buy it right away, but it is why I kind of nibbled. And here we are, right? So that's the 618. It doesn't mean it's done. That said, if you lose this, there's usually, and I don't use any other fibs because 9 out of 10 times, if there is something there, there's probably a fair value gap that's going to hold precedence, which will be here at 29. Meaning, like, if I was to say, what do I care about a 786, right? I really don't care about a 786. I'm going to have a 35 level anyways, and honestly, there'll be all of this fair value, 30, whatever. I don't care. Yeah, I don't need a 786 to tell me that there's a level here. So no, I don't care about a 786. It's got to be here, or I cut bait and run 40. Anyways, this is an area where I think you can look for interest for sure. It could get a little bit of a bounce, but doesn't mean it's out of the weeds. Even if it does bounce, what you don't want to see is you don't want to see rejection at that 48, right? So you see rejection at that 48. If this is going to continue downside, this is what that downside would look like. So you can get, and you have a 50-day coming over here. So don't get over your skis if you see, if you see HIMS, even if you see HIMS at like 50, right? Don't get too excited, right? I think you could see HIMS at 50. I actually don't think that's a horrible shot to take a $50 option, call option on HIMS at all. I think you could take that shot for a bit of a bounce here, because I think that there will be, because I don't think that HIMS made a lot of money on Novo Nordisk, number one. So if you really liked HIMS, I really don't think that you gave two craps about Novo's partnership. Because we all know, because if you didn't know, HIMS makes a lot more money on the compounds than they do on Novo. Novo as a brand itself has a lot bigger issues anyways. And they needed to do something, and they probably needed to bring their sales direct to consumers. So it's probably better. So yeah, I like the spot on HIMS. I like the spot here now on HIMS. I think you can get a bounce, but the bounce needs to bounce over and hold 48.59. You see that? You're still not out of the weeds. Eventually, you can go sideways, but your bigger area, you're back into that issue, 53s. It's going to feel good. Listen, as long as you're generally holding, if you can get over that, it's all good. Expect some turmoil, but if you can hold that, that's what that will have to look like. And I think that would be ideal. So yeah, call me crazy. I jumped in the deep end. It's a pretty clean risk reward for me. In terms of stop at 41, stop at, you know what? I honestly, I probably wouldn't even stop at 41. This is going to be small. 40, you'd probably put a stop at 40. All right, Apple. This is the definition of a failed breakdown. So this is an ugly looking chart. I don't think that you can deny that this is a damn ugly looking chart, right? So this thing's going to the gulag. pretty much everyone and their mother would say, oh, it's going to the gulag. My good friend Amit asked me, hey, look, is this actually going to the gulag? I'm like, what time frame are you looking at? And we were like, well, nah, not really. If you think about it from a long-term perspective, if I take off all these lines, long-term, monthly, actually, no, this is exactly where you want to buy it. From a monthly, this is a monthly chart. This is exactly where you want to buy it. I'm just going to hover here. This is 2023, July and December 2023 highs, retest after wicking off the 200-week simple moving average. 4th of July weekend, that is the most bullish time of year for the Apple. Looking like that big nasty breakdown. I'll go ahead and change this to a 3-hour so you can play this below all significant simple moving averages. This is the definition of a failed breakdown. Boom. All of a sudden, you're back into it, right? And as we come through here, if you just blink, right? Now we're looking from a weekly perspective. Apple is what? Let's go. I'll put this in the middle, top center. Let's just go normal. At what point does Apple go green on the week? Apple's already been green. As long as Apple's over 201.44, it's going green on the week. And then if you're over 202.50, you're very likely going to 205. For the month, you're not going lower. And if you're over 207, you're over 202, you're going to 207. If you're over 207, you're probably going to 213. And it's just going to be just like that. A little bit of work to do, no question. But between these two simple moving averages, 20 and the 50-day, of course it's going to bang its head right now. Of course it's going to bang its head. But look, it was trapped. Now it's in here. Just that one little pivot over 203 next. Then it's 206. You crack that 207, it's going to be lights out. And you'll be like, oh, I should have bought it. I don't know. But she can chug along a little bit between now and then. That's fine. But that is the trajectory. She's failing to go any lower. That is a big deal. Can she go lower? Yeah, but this gap right here, market imbalance 195, that was it. That was a big market imbalance. It held like a rock right here. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Which actually, in fact, was a higher low. Is it a higher high yet? No, it's not. So not out of the woods. That's also true. So these could take a little bit seasonally. It's what it is. You don't really want to trade off the calendar, but from a longer term perspective, it actually looks constructive. And there is a little bit of a catalyst coming up. And from a trade location perspective, this is the only one that's still right out of the trade war zone. This is trade war zone. Liquidation day, just now out of it. All right. Rocket Lab. Oh my God, JB. I see that. Rocket Lab, this thing is crazy. I mean, so we talked about this on a couple of shows. This one's, oh, what a bad boy. This one's looking good. Just stay the course, man. Nothing new to do here. Stay the course. This was good. So this was a little overheated coming into the anti-Elon situation. Overheated to the downside. We talked about this. This was a good buy. Here you are. See how far she goes. Mid-cap growth, man. This is what I'm talking about. This is mid-cap growth. If you're not in the right place, everything else is a distraction. If you're not in the right place, it's all the other stuff becomes a distraction. It's an opportunity cost. Get in, get out, but focus on the right stuff, because otherwise, what are you doing, right? You're going to get distracted. Over 33.50, it can get wild. It can get wild. MVIS. JB, this is small cap, micro cap on JB. Mavis Moguls. I can't do it. I can't do it, Dan. I can't do it. It would have needed to do it. You need some more interest. It needed to do it. I don't know. You could sit here for probably like another 5 years, but it should have done it on that last run. J-Roy. MSTR, no. Google, maybe, but it needs to fail this breakdown. So this is full blown breakdown. After actually getting a good trigger long, this is full blown breakdown. You do have earnings. So market is fickle, by the way. Right now, it's mid cap growth, but also we have to acknowledge that the failed breakdowns could be setting up in the large caps. So quickly it could shift to large cap growth. So, or large caps in general. So here now, this is actually maybe the mid cap growth has happened. And I do want to pay attention to this. I'm very much interested in Google, but I need my trigger really. So from a weekly perspective, this is a bit of a retest. It's already said, hey, look, we are interested. You're about 50% of that. I don't know that it's today, like at all. This is a good retest of that breakout. But I feel like I need a little bit more. This is a good spot. We have all this, right? So we have all of this here. What I need to see from a daily perspective. So if this is Friday's low, so we have a little bit of an extension down. It's basically this week. If you're over 165 at some point this week, I don't have to snipe it, right? So I don't have to jump in right now. I actually took this long today, but it's off of this 165 level. So it has to be that 165 level, which is Friday's low. So if you don't understand that it's Friday's low, it's Friday's low. It's Friday's low, and it's basically whatever the pre-market high is of the day. If you're not over that 167, it's not happening. You have a 50-day right now, which is kind of like whatever, right? Tomorrow, it's whatever today's low is. For the week, it is this 165 area. So that's for the week right now. I think that's going to be like break a structure. So for right now, it's directionally down on the week. But even if today Google somehow miraculously gets up over and closes over 165, that is a failed breakdown. This ends up looking like a giant liquidity grab, right? This entire thing down here. But until I have this, I can't, because this could just be like, ooh, no good, right? And maybe this liquidity grab is significantly lower, right? Maybe this does have to go down, and then, maybe it's like that. And this is a liquidity grab down here, which means that if I'm trying to pick it up over here when the entry is over here, I gotta wait for the trigger. Otherwise, I'm just guessing. I need to have that setup. So the setup is, okay, day one, I have to have a level, right? And that setup basically is like, all right, you have a moment in time where even if it's this morning, you're coming down, and here this morning you're below Friday's low, but then quickly it gets bought back up above, and I'm okay to go long in here, which I did, right? But if you're below it, no, I'm not. I can't be long down here. It's very simple. So no, I'm not. No. But, and over here, I could just be catching a falling knife. because that could just happen. So no, I don't want this either. And if you get long here, I'm like, you gotta take profit right there, because that could just, that's counter trend. This is counter trend from here. This is not necessarily counter trend because you're no longer red on the week. All right. SOFI. SOFI's good. SOFI's good, man. Stay the course. This is longer. SOFI's good. Stay the course. These are like January's, 2026's, 15s, or debit spreads. Stay the course. No update needed. Same as last time. MSTR is complicated. This could be a possible failed breakdown. But it's not convincing. Yeah, need more time. Nothing there. All right. MU for earnings. What? If you're asking for earnings, Aaron, and you're expecting me to give you direction, it's just not happening. All I can tell you is all I will ever give is like what an expected move is and a range, right? So it's 4.3. So 8.5%. What was it? 8.5%. So up to 133. Dude, I highly doubt that. Down to 112. The option chain. So that's $10 in either direction. No trade. It's not tradable. Micron has an implied move of $10.60 in either direction. The actual average move is $10.40 in either direction. It's perfectly priced. There's no edge here. Unless you want to guess. Or you want to sell premium, but I don't know. It seems like I would stay as far away as possible. I want nothing to do with this. Total distraction for me. Many other better opportunities. For sure. Yeah. I'd rather do Rocket Lab though. Josh. Aluminum. Aluminum. Not aluminum. Illumina. Lumina. What is this one? I forgot. Soma Logic. Soma? Isn't that isn't Soma Logic like a software, like a life sciences? What's the option liquidity here? You guys are equity traders. This is an equity trader for sure. What's the average daily range on this bad boy? Come on. $2.84. I mean, it's not a big mover. Yeah, earnings coming. Life sciences is just like it's like biotech, dude. It's a rough spot. Look at this. I gotta know something. I gotta punt because it's just not my area. It is a setup. It's a good setup. The chart looks good. The chart looks good. I mean, I could keep saying that the chart looks good because it does. These things scare the shit out of me. There's some September $100 calls. It's kind of like the only way I would want to trade it is a swing setup because this looks like a really good lotto. And I would just size for 0, set it, forget it. Because if it goes, I think it goes a lot higher. But I would just get those September hundreds and expect them to go to 0 and kind of just put them in a drawer. Because if it goes, then it's like 130 plus. No. I hate SMCI, the company, by the way. Just make note. I'm not a fan of the company. At all. Dude. But from a technical perspective, this is the spot that it was. This is your launch pad. So either it goes here now, which I got to be honest with you, it's not convincing. I really don't like this company though. It's not run. Like I'm not a fan. Like I could not be more clear. It's not, this has got to also be size for 0, which I am. I think they fucked this up. Honestly, I'm like, I don't like it. I don't like it so much that I am size for 0, but I still want to throw it in the trash. But I shouldn't, because it hasn't broken down. It's not invalidated. So the trade is, just to be clear, simply up to 60 back in here. And then it is throw in the trash. But it was for this area, this 45. Like here's that volume shelf. Here. So it's this area. And essentially you were like right in here and holding over. It was at 44.50. So 44.50 hold was actually pretty important last week, which is what got me like, okay, 44.50 hold. See it now? You could probably see it now. It was pretty important. So the 44.50 hold last week, very important. And then, of course, doing this offering I have zero faith in the company, period, end of story. And so the fact that that happened is like very discouraging for me, even as a trader, like, because I have no intention of being in this company long term. Just it was strictly a trade. So from that perspective, all right, I can stay in this until it's invalidated, and the invalidation is below 4150, which, by the way, it goes directly to this morning, and it holds. So this is where I should add, quite frankly. So I will add here because that's what the rule set is, right? I mean, this is the ideal entry. Actually, even though this is like the confirmation holds, this is a better entry here. That's also true. So as long as this holds from that perspective, okay, fine. This is a better entry than this area from a risk reward perspective. But if this is at all below here, directly into the garbage you go. And I'll probably never touch this thing again. I say that. I probably will, because I don't care, because I'll trade it. If the setup's there, I'll trade it. I'm being so biased. It's not true. I will trade it again. But it's just not ready. Simply a trading vehicle. Simply the trade is literally just from here to fill a very clear market inefficiency into the 59 level. Absolutely not anything more than that. If you're thinking anything more than that, you're high as a kite. But that on like a 45-day to expiration, or so, like less than 30-day to expiration in contract, that's like 10x. So 1,000% return. Yeah, right. These estimates very tight, but they can get tighter. So I do understand that it could take a lot longer, a lot more time to consolidate. So this offering is dilution, which does throw a wrench into the setup, though. So I'm aware of that. It is what it is. We'll see what the sentiment looks like after that. So is it a good dip to buy? No, it's not a good dip to buy. It is a good technical spot. It's a better risk reward for this trade. But it's a high risk. It's a higher risk dip to buy here. It's a high risk dip to buy here. It's a high reward dip to buy for this trade, but high risk because any penny lower, it's just like toast. Circle. So, I mean, holding. Yeah, I need volatility to kind of burn off on this one. There's no pullbacks happening right now. Quite frankly, like, you have to use fib extensions every time. And it's just getting wild. So as long as it's in a continual like move, then I think you're fine. I don't think this is like something that you can short still, unless it's obvious, right? So like every time circle is going, it's just like high tight. The shorts are very short-lived and small, and the upside moves are absolutely just ridiculously explosive. Problem with circle is the IV right now, and the day of the week. Monday is the most expensive day of the week, Monday morning specifically. Come at me like even like the 300s, like you'd have to be okay. Intraday, they have released new circle options. So midday, new circle options are showing up. A couple hours ago, 370 was the highest strike. Now there are 450s. If this is an active breakout, it's an active breakout. That's true. But I can only go like day to day extensions. So like this day to day extension, even here, when I look at it, it basically had already hit. So like 335 would be that extension. To 292 was essentially a doubling of yesterday's range. So from a day-to-day perspective, it's right here. So you basically just take yesterday's range, and there it is. As long as holding yesterday's high, which is 250, it's there. And then tomorrow you basically just do it again, right? So like tomorrow, if this is today, well, it's 365. It is what it is. But that's a little bit of a blow off top look. We'll see. 300 is a huge psychological level. It might take a while to breathe up at 300. I don't know. I can't even calculate. The option chain cannot calculate volatility yet because it's just like it hasn't even been around for very long, right? Like even so from here to here, just this basic, right? Look at this. So here is this, right? So this extension is 3x the initial consolidation. So do we have here? Yeah, but this is 1. See where it came from? Double that consolidation, and now you've tripled the consolidation, and here you are. So does this all make sense? It actually does, and there it is, right? But there it is. Can it go higher? I guess. I mean, but I don't want to mess with options if it's going to chill. Right here, what would 4 be? 362. So same level. So we just got 360 before. 362 would be 4x. So it loses 250. It'll be to 213 from a fib perspective. If it can get back over 260, then it's the 300. 360. Oh, that's super speculative, but it is what it is. How's MRVL? I like MRVL. MRVL is when it's a longer consolidation, high and tight. So this is a longer, and it's a broader play. It's a longer play. So I don't have anything short dated here. I might, now that we have a pullback, be a little bit more interested. This may be an opportunity to take a stab at some 80s near dated. So here's that prior consolidation breakthrough, definitely a higher high. Definitely this locks a higher low if this holds. This will be one. I'll put this on watch for the server. I don't know that's ready today. I'm seeing some medium data options go out. I think you can give this a data rest. Ooh. Never mind. We'll see. I'm seeing some strikes. You guys can look on the chain, but this looks like a good. This looks like your pretty standard breakout retest. This could go sideways for a bit, and then you see a little blip. You're looking for this next move into the mid 80s. This is a larger company turnaround though, so I don't know that it's like instantly. Microsoft Meta is seen as overperformers. Good long-term prospects. Google. I mean, are you in the server? Yeah. CAVA. So CAVA is it's interesting. I think so. So mid cap for sure, growthy baby. They missed their earnings or something. They lost coverage. It just doesn't have the investor appetite. Good spot on the chart. maybe even great spot on the chart. I just don't know. There's just not a lot of investor sentiment. Just not a lot of investor sentiment and not enough interest for it to move a whole lot. Okay. Tesla. You should not be scared to touch Tesla. All right. So Tesla's good. We'll see. So you just want to know what's up next. Today, so we had a big move. We had all of this consolidation here, right in this area. And this was the prior breakdown on Tesla. And then I'm going to call it with this. So here's your prior breakdown on Tesla. Support, 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 resistance, resistance, resistance. When it came into this, then you had this heavy consolidation. Heavy consolidation. Some people were trying to anticipate this. This is tight. This happens to be below a pretty clean, simple moving average. That white line is your 20-day simple. This was our first watch today in the server, probably the main one, and had measured out from before. So of this area here, the initial breakdown. Let me get to the server. Where's the server? Go all the way up. So let's focus 6:18 a.m. All right, so 351.39. 351.39 is this main one. So it's still from here to here. It's this. So from this fib is this guy. It's still that halfway point. Same place we stalled before. Right back to it. All of this. Boom. Happens to be a 50% retracement. Just make it, I don't know, yellow. So all of this. If you can get over it, possible. You have a rejection point here, which was this morning's pivot. So this morning's pivot here, 347, was this area of interest right there, and the prior breakdown, call it area, 345. So you still want to hold 345. That's still this kind of inner area. So 340, yeah, it might even be 347. 347 holds. 345 is in. 350 is interesting. It's a big pivot, but over, boom, this guy. Then you'll go back up into this channel. At 362. We're going to grab a fair value. 361. And this is the original trade. So the original trade, basically, from, I say original, from here this breakdown broken downtrend. All we're looking at right now is actually continuation. So this trajectory essentially was going to bring us to 387, possibly 425, possibly up to 355. So all we're doing is, you know, three directions. So stock goes, makes a run, makes a rest, makes a little bit of run, made a rest. Now we're back on trajectory. If we can continue through these levels, maybe you get a little bit of blip. That next move is to 390s. You can kind of go sideways again. Then you're in this. And this entire trade from here to here, from here to the highs, that is still in play. So yeah, you had a little bit of a whoopsies back here. You had a beautiful opportunity back down here to get back in. And if this moment can reclaim this area of interest, really 362 from this point right here at the top of that consolidation, then for sure the entire rebound is completely back in play. For now, and this is super important, it's not 350, it's like this 347 blip. If you lose that, we did have a bit of a what we call fair value from the squeeze that we created this morning down to the 20-day. So from an inefficiency perspective that was created in the market this morning, it just moves so fast. It does not have to fill, but it can fill from here to here. That's possible from a day trade perspective, but I don't know, but that does not come in play unless you're below 345. So at any point, if you do lose that, sure, it's possible that that's available for a quick day trade, but it'll be so quick, like you probably blink, and then you really want to get long again back in here, or at least start thinking that, okay, this is going to go into some kind of consolidation one more time. And then this whole thing will probably begin to look like another one of those. The only way that breaks is if you're below here and then you look like that. But from here, it's pretty hard for that to happen. Tesla, only scared to touch, stop it. All right, guys. A quick check, 1125. That's it for me for now. We shall see. Hoodie actually looking not so bad. There's some others. I do like the look of some snow. I don't know if it's ready. Not a big Bucky fan, but the Winter Soldier's got some life in her, not going to lie. I like me some Oscar. JP Morgan looking better. Reddit's got some squeeze in her, but I don't know that she's ready. Arista on the list. Love it. Looking tight. Looking tight, like a failed breakdown. So there's a lot out there, guys. That said, I think that I will be with our good friend Amit mañana. But yeah, until then, appreciate you guys. We think we went through a lot. Yeah, we will save that, Caleb, for tomorrow, for sure. All right, guys. For now, it's been real. I love y'all, and I got to get back to it. I'm going to take a break. If you're in the server, I'll see ya for Power Hour. Peace. Late.